Hello everyone, Trans here, back again with another one of my build videos. This is going to be a stamina Nightblade video, mainly focused on bleeds and dots, and I gotta say this is probably one of the most OP broken builds that I've ever been able to come up with. So we've got our stamina Nightblade here, we're on Dwight Schrute, and I'm going to go over my gear, my race, Mundustone, skills, and consumables, and everything here for my stamina Nightblade build. So first, let's start off with our gear. So we're going to be running 5 heavy sloads on the body with 2 skoria. And you want as much impen as you can. You can go infused on big pieces and impen on small. But because this is mainly going to be a battleground build, you're definitely going to want as much impen as you can, since you can't get crit resistance from champion points. So you could add another 2 prismatic glyphs for the gauntlets and the greaves, but you want a couple prismatic just to get our health and our magical pool really high. And because we're able to run the heavy armor, the 6 heavy and 1 medium, we're actually pretty tanky after getting our resistance buffs from the Nightblade skill line. So we're pairing our 5 sloads, which by the way didn't get too much of a nerf next patch. It got a nerf if you're a magic build running it because you can dodge it now as a stamina character, but for stamina builds it's still going to be really, really strong. So we've got our 5 sloads, then we're actually using 5 blood drinker on the front bar with our blood drinker's maul and charge trait, and then we're running 2 master's axes on the back bar. So this build is a little bit confusing, but trust me, it's really, really, really easy to play. We're also using 2 different types of poisons. On our back bar, we're going to be using our cost increase poisons, and then our front bar, we're going to be using our double dot poisons. So just to go over this again, because the build seems complicated. So it's 5 sloads body heavy with 2 skoria, then 3 blood drinker jewelry with a blood drinker maul front bar. I mean, you could use an axe ideally, but I just didn't have access to one. And then 2 master's axes on the back bar. So something is really wrong just with the calculations and with blood drinker and the master's axes. It's really, really strong. I mean, I'm getting 3 to 5k bleed ticks per person on someone with that's pretty tanky and has a lot of armor. So after you apply your twin slashes or your rending slashes, you can swap to your front bar, and they're probably already at half health just from a couple bleed ticks and the poisons and everything and the sloads that you have on them. And then all of the bleeds and the dots and the sloads, they all proc skoria, so that's why we're wearing it. Also like the max health bonus from it that skoria gives you. Alright, so the skills we're using, we're going to go to our back bar first, our dual wheel bar. We're using our shadowy disguise here. With this build, because it's so tanky, I rarely go into stealth. The only reason I really would is for the shadow barrier passive that give you your major resolve and major ward, and the duration is 15 seconds, as you can see with all my shadow abilities slotted here. So we only really use this, I guess, to hide or get away. We're not going to use it too much in combat because we're pretty tanky with our heavy armor and our prismatic glyphs and our skoria on. Then we've got rending slashes. This is going to be the main dot, so you're going to want to start off your attack by either a heavy or a light attack and then a rending slashes, because it snares them and it's the main point of our build. It does so much damage. I'm talking, I've hit a 6k bleed, just 1 bleed tick from rending slashes on someone in light armor, so it's really strong. Then we've got a relentless focus here. This is mainly our buff. I mean, we sometimes cast the Assassin's Scourge, but mainly we're using it for our minor endurance and minor berserk. Then we've got a mirage. I took the morph that gives you your minor evasion, resolve, and ward. I mean, you can choose the other morph that gives you movement speed, but we're using our movability pots as well to give our major expedition, so we don't really need it. Then we've got leashing strikes. Now this is key to our sustain because we're not using medium armor, we're using 6 heavy, where your light and heavy attacks restore health and stamina, and also at the end of the duration you get a little bit over 4k stamina, so it's essential to our sustain. Then on our back bar, we've got our Dawnbreaker of Smiting. I cast this a decent amount because it's an AoE stun, and paired, in Battlegrounds with other ultimates going down at the same time, it's really strong. So that's our back bar. And then our front bar, we've got our Resolving Vigor. Not much to say there, it's a really good heal. But mainly we're going to be casting a Rally and Stealth, we're not going to be casting Vigor too much. Then we've got our surprise attack, which gives them major fracture, so reduces their physical resistance for really strong 17 seconds. It's also our main spammable that we're going to be using. Then we've got Executioner, which is great because it's an AoE, and it's also a very strong ability. Then if you go to your two-handed passives, your Battle Rush, after you kill an enemy, you get an extra 30% stamina from it for 10 seconds. So that's why we have Executioner, and it does more bonus damage. Then we've got a Rally, it's our burst heal, and our Major Brutality. And this is really a flex spot. You could run a couple different skills here. You could run your Shadow Image, you could run Fear, but I like, for the extra crit, Camo Hunter, and I've already got a stun with Incap. I mean, it's getting nerfed in the next patch. I might think about consider using Dawnbreaker of Smiting, but you could still use Incap. It gives the Major Defile, which is so strong, especially in Battlegrounds. Alright, now our consumables that we're using is the RTM Takeaway Broth. You could also use Dubious if you don't have access, because these are going like 6k for each one on PCNA. So use the Takeaway Broth or the Dubious Cameron Throne. Then the pots we're using, all these are good, the immovability pots. Immovability pots are really strong in Battlegrounds right now because everyone's using Rune Cage. So I use these that give stamina, Major Expedition, and then immovability. That's the main pot that I'm using. Go to race. So I am a Wood Elf because the Wood Elf passes are really strong for Nightblade combined with the, what's the siphoning ability or assassination? Yeah, so Refreshing Shadows increase your health, magic, and stamina recovery. It goes really well with a Wood Elf because you get 21% extra stamina recovery. And again, because we're not using the medium armor passives here, we're using mainly heavy armor, it's really good to have a decent amount of recovery and also running leeching strikes. So we are a Wood Elf, and we're also running the Serpent Mundus for that extra bit of stamina recovery. And if you can see, buffed up, our stats are not too bad. We're running on our front bar, or back bar, 3200 weapon damage. Front bar, we're running 2800 weapon damage, stamina recovery, a little bit over 1800, which is a decent amount. If you're running between 1800 and 2k recovery in Battlegrounds, you should be fine. Combined with the Battle Rush passive and siphoning, it's pretty strong. And then remember, we're also in heavy armor. So if we hit that again, look at our resistances. We're running 22 and 23k with 1200 crit resist. So we're fairly tanky, and we can take a lot of damage and we can dish out a lot of damage. So we've gone over our gear race, consumables, all the skills. So the playstyle of this build is, I like to hit them with the Rending Slashes first. It snares them, puts all your dots on them, which procs sloads, skoria, bleeds them, and then switch the front bar, hit them with an Incap, surprise attack until execute. I mean, if you put Twin Slashes on them and then with an Incap, they'll be at half health or less, and you could just start executing. And this build is really strong. I don't see a nerf coming to it too much with sloads next patch, so it's still going to be really strong. And just overall, if you look at our stats, right now we're running 11.5k Magicka, then 23,000 health, which is a lot, and then 25.5 or 27.5k stamina. So again, this is a really strong build. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I'll be coming out with more.